What's up, Internet? You're tuning in episode 108 of Nintendo Noise, Slipscreen Games' weekly Nintendo podcast. I'm your host, Pete and Bessie, joined as always from very good friends and co-hosts, Mr. Steven Radford.
Hello, hello.
Welcome back to the show, buddy.
Was I not on last week? What did you talk about last week?
You might have been on. I don't know. You were sick. Whatever. I'm glad that you're not. You're well enough to speak again. Is more, I guess, the spirit of that sentiment.
Welcome
back, whether or not you were gone. And then, of course, Miss Sierra Plus Ultra.
Ayo.
So, Sierra, we had an interesting phenomenon this week. So, if you're a member of our Discord, I sent out a message. I'm like, look, Sierra and I are going to record the show tonight. We're going to talk about all the new Switch hardware news. And I was so ready for the joke, right? Sierra's gone for a couple of weeks. She's back. Oh, of course, it's new hardware time, right?
Exactly.
At the last
like
second.
Clockwork.
The last second, we're literally sitting down to record. I've realized that I double booked myself. I run out the door, and then they announce a Nintendo Direct. So you've narrowly escaped the new hardware discussion this week, Sierra, and you get to talk about something else. How's that feel?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, let's pretend it technically happened, right? It did happen on a week that I was going to be on the show.
Yeah.
The universe knew.
So I guess 2 weeks from now, we'll talk about some more hardware news. And we'll see how that goes. But today, of course, we are here to talk about everything that we saw at today's Nintendo Direct. Of course, what was it? 2 weeks ago, I guess, Steve, or was it last week? Who can remember anymore? But we talked all about the rumors of a September Direct being right around the corner.
Maybe that's what we spoke about last week. Was it the Mario Wonder thing?
That sounds right to me. I don't know. Who's to say?
Was that Direct last week?
No, that was 2
I
weeks
don't know.
ago,
I need to find out now. Like,
you look
the way
it up.
time moves now is
That's
so
all right.
What's going on with
terrifying.
timelines? It's just bizarre.
We're all doing our best. It's the last leg of the year, right? Like
Literally 7 days to this day, we were talking about the fact that there could be a Nintendo Direct.
So there we go.
So if you want to listen to what we wanted in the Direct, it's on last week's episode.
Point being, it happened, right? So win for Nate the Hate. We got it. The leakers were correct. We got another Direct. Look at that. It's September. It's Direct season, everybody. And, I'm not going to bury the lead on this one. Solid Direct. They had a lot to show. A lot of it looked good. And I feel like there was check-ins on stuff that we needed to know more about. And then they had a couple surprises along the way, too. Like, it feels overall, it's not like S ranked through the roof hype levels, but I feel like a very, very solid Direct,
Yeah, that's some pretty good stuff.
Yeah, there's some juicy things in there. I was through the roof excited at certain points in the show. I don't know.
This is a very Steve-centric Direct, right? Like we had of course the and like we're gonna jump all around. So we don't, we're gonna go in like rough relevance order, but we don't have to. If there's something you want to jump into, feel free. Right? Of course, we had the Tomb Raider, the original trilogy, like remaster collection, a very
that was a surprise.
Big surprise, and like a cool one too. Like that's a cool announcement, and like they look good. Really nice, like way to repackage those PS1 games and like not totally move away from the original style, but present something.
No,
that's a
it
looks
looks like what
jagged.
she looked like in cutscenes in the game.
Yeah.
So she'd go from like being really pointy with no fingers to then in a cutscene she'd be like okay.
She'd be round.
She'd have some curves. It wasn't just all pointy, and she looks like that now. But I like the fact that you could switch between the two.
Big fan of that. Big fan of that in any remake, being able to toggle between the original style. Like that's cool.
Yeah, they mentioned DLC. I don't know how they did DLC on the PlayStation 1, so I don't really know.
Maybe it was like on PC or something.
Yeah, it might have been, or it might just been. There's like a deluxe version, and it's on the disc, but we're calling it DLC because people know what DLC means.
Yeah, they were like all the DLC included. I was like, what do you mean? Like, was that
what DLC?
Maybe there was already a re-release of it that had new content or something. I don't know. That was
yeah, we're just plugging in a modem to our PS1. I'm interested to see how she controls when I have my date with her on February 14th for Valentine's Day.
Very excited to hear all about it.
Really nice Valentine's Day with Lara Croft.
And then, and again, right? I'm just hitting the Steve-centric announcements here, but like the Another Code recollection, a series of games I was not even familiar with until we did our top 100. And now it's like they're back and this Wii game that was never released stateside is getting a port and everything. It's like super cool, very cool.
Yeah, so in the US, the original game on the DS was known as Trace Memory, but you're going to be playing this as Another Code, which is what the rest of the world got it as. And you get the DS game and the Wii game in one package, fully in 3D. Looks really cool. And this is
Looks
out in
really good.
January. Yeah, I'm really excited for more people to play this game. It was a great mystery, great story game. And I'm hoping that this means we might get a remake of Hotel Dusk next. It's from the same development studio that tragically went bust. I love this style of game, and I love Another Code. I'm very interested to see how they adapt some of the DS specific um, uh, input methods. So you would like blow in the microphone to blow dust off of things, or you had to like close the DS at certain points in order to do things in the game. So I'm curious how they translate that. I would imagine they'll have other input methods, or they'll just like press a button, that kind of thing. But it was really fun because you just looked at it and it wouldn't tell you what to do. You're just looking at it and you're like, I have no idea what I'm meant to do here. And if you blew on the microphone, then the dust would disappear and you'd be able to see it, which was cool.
That is neat. It's like always like the challenge with wanting to bring back some of Nintendo's old games after they had like a couple eras of just like weird gimmicky hardware, you know? It's like you got to kind of reimagine things a little bit. But it's nice to see them like putting in the work for some of these games and like not just
Yeah.
stranding them on this old hardware.
Yeah, I mean, I think this was, I think for me, a big theme of the direct. It was very remake and remaster heavy.
Mm.
Yeah,
A,
true.
a lot of the games that we'll talk about today are remakes and remasters, and I'm okay with that. I know a lot of people. I saw a few people complaining about it, like where are the new games? It's all just remakes and remasters or stuff
Oh,
that we already knew
brother.
about.
But think about how
But
many
for
new
me,
games we got this year already,
I
right? It's like
know,
I feel
There's
like
so
yeah,
many games.
it's like an
What are
embarrassment
they
of riches.
talking about?
Yeah, yeah, totally. I don't know.
uh,
Like Mario
but
Wonder's out in like a month. Like
I
that's
Yeah.
know, yeah,
that's the new game. It's right there.
Go fucking dig through some indies if you really want to be constantly playing new games. Oh boy.
Yeah, there's no shortage of hot games to be playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a weird one for me. I would like this feels like one of the most jam-packed years Nintendo has had in the entirety of the Switch's life cycle. There's so many bangers out right now, and like even like the newer games that they had to talk about are all imminent too, right? Like,
Mhm.
well let's get into it, right? Like, we got a full reveal like for the title and like a proper look at the gameplay of Princess Peach Showtime. That's a new game, right? It's coming out
mm,
on March 22nd. And this is, of course, the game that we got teased in the last like proper direct, and we got a much better idea of like what the game is moment to moment, you know? Kind of framing the loose framing device we've got is there's a villain named Grape, and 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 their minions are called the Sour Bunch, which I liked. Grape and the Sour Bunch is pretty good. And basically Peach and a couple toads have like gone to this theater to watch a play, and Grape and the Sour Bunch show up and take over the theater. And the way that Peach and Stella, who is the theater's guardian, is like a ribbon character who it seems like that's like where Peach gets all these new abilities, are like through Stella. She gets what they call show-stopping abilities, and it's basically she can transform into different characters based on the section of the game that you're in. It seems like
mm.
to me, where like they showed like she could be a sword fighter. There's like a detective mode where you're like looking for clues. There was like a kung fu segment where she was like doing a bunch of like crazy martial arts combos. Um,
Pastry chef. That was
Pastry
my
chef, that
particular
was the other
Yeah.
one,
favorite.
which
That
Yeah,
was so
there
good.
was like a mini game connected with
yeah.
that looked like it was like a different kind of, like a different like way to break up gameplay rather than
I
just
was
like
hoping
combat.
it was gonna be the game Chef, because in Chef you're cooking for Princess Peach, and I thought it would have been fun if she was cooking for people instead. It didn't look
Mhm.
like it.
Yeah.
So what do we make of this? What we saw?
I'm much more interested in it now because I was wondering what, like, mechanics would be unique to this game and what gimmicks there would be. And now that I have a better idea, I'm like, "Yeah, I think this is a day one. I think I'm gonna cop this when it releases."
What about it stood out to you?
I just think that, like, the level design is really cute, and I like the sword fighter, like the chef mode, like, I think that, um, it'll make gameplay engaging in some way that's not just, like I really thought it was just gonna be, like, a one for one, like a Mario game where she's platforming, but I
Sure.
think there's just gonna be so much more that makes it stand apart from, like, other Mario releases, and I think it'll be sick.
What do you think, Steve?
I think it looks okay. I think coming off the back of Mario Wonder, it doesn't look as good as that to me. I'm curious why they waited this long to show the game, and they obviously had this ready and the title picked out, and they knew the concept of the game when they showed us
Yeah.
that all the Mario stuff back in July. I don't know why they waited until this point to then reveal the game.
Feels like they coulda just not mentioned it at that last direct if they weren't
Yeah,
ready to
and then
talk
have it
about
as a
it.
surprise.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and just I don't know, maybe they were worried about it leaking or something, but I don't know. Like, that felt weird to me too, where it's like just a few weeks ago, they're like, "Oh, we're gonna talk about it later," and it's like, I figured that meant we would talk about it, like, next year, not, like, a few
Yeah, I mean,
weeks from
I
then.
had this down as like this is probably going to be a next gen title. We were talking about
Yeah.
the Switch 2 potentially coming out next year, maybe around March, similar time of the original Switch. Yeah, are they going to keep this back as a next gen title? Apparently not. It's coming out in spring. I looked it up. They stretched the games this winter very far. That is spring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's March 22nd. That's like,
Maybe
that's not winter.
maybe they were like, "Oh, like, we've never done standalone Peach game, we should start talking about it ASAP just to, like, get it
I
in
guess I could
half
see
people's
that.
minds."
Yeah, like, trying to
'Cause,
get,
like
like, buzz going.
yeah, I mean, obviously, Peach, like, in pop culture is, like, becoming more popular, but, um, yeah, I don't know, maybe they view this as a risk, but I think he's gonna do alright.
Yeah, I definitely think I think it's the right time for it, you know? Like, they're
Yeah.
clearly, like, doubling down on the Mario IP, like, with the movie and, like, with
Oh
the
yeah, I mean we saw that with Mario versus Donkey Kong remake as well. It was like I thought we were going to get a new Donkey Kong game when they revealed that
yeah.
one, and it was
I was
the
like, "Oh,
remake
shoot."
of the
It's like, "Oh,
GBA game. I
cool."
thought we were finally going to see the Donkey Kong
Which,
game that
like, shout out,
we've
like,
been talking about.
that franchise was really good, and there's a lot of entries in it, and I think it just kinda, like, lost it's one of those franchises that kinda petered out, and it's like, it makes sense to bring it back, no doubt. So, I mean, I want a proper Donkey Kong game, but, um,
Same.
those games are cool, and, like, they're different, you know, like, it's obviously, it's, like, still kind of a platformer, but, like, they don't really have a puzzle platformer like that,
Yeah, it
you
looked
know?
like a puzzle platformer, which I was really interested in. I'd never played the game before, but it had like a Donkey Kong Jr. vibe in the way
Yeah,
you went
yeah, it's a
you
lot
kind
like
of ran
that.
across the vines,
It's
which
neat.
was cool.
I only played the original, but I liked it back in the day.
Mm,
I was glad to see that one come back, and, like, they did have, a couple other, like, details about it, like, there's gonna be, like, local co-op and some stuff like that, so they did add some new bells and whistles as well, which is cool, and that one's coming out on the 16th of February, so it's another one that's, like, right around the corner.
mm.
But to take it back to Princess Peach, Showtime, I feel like I'm kind of in between the 2 of you, where, like, I feel like I wanna see a little bit more of it because, like, I definitely, am with you, Sierra, where, like, I definitely found myself responding to the style of it, like, I think it's got a really good, um, like, look and vibe to it. I guess what I'm not concerned about, but I guess where my reservation is, like, whenever a game is, like has a bunch of different gameplay gimmicks like that. I'm always like, how developed are each of these? Like, is each one gonna feel as good as the others? Like, am I gonna like the patisserie stuff as much as the sword fighting stuff, or is like, is there gonna be like a weak link somewhere that makes the overall experience feel weaker because it's not as consistent? But like,
Mm.
that was what I was worried
You
about with like
might get it.
Mario
Kirby did it,
Odyssey,
right?
though, and it was fine, and, like, Wonder kinda looks like that, and it's probably gonna be fine. So, I feel like I that's my knee-jerk reservation, but, like, it being Nintendo, I'm like, I feel like if this is the gimmick, then they're gonna nail it, right? Like,
Mm.
I don't know.
Only time will tell.
Yeah, but I'm definitely excited for it. I want to see more. It's a game I would love to get a direct for and like let them get a little bit deeper into the systems and like talk about it a little bit more and kind of, you know, sell me.
I think we probably will get a direct closer to the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we've seen, we saw Mario RPG again today, and they announced that back in July. And we know some more information about that as well that we hadn't known before.
Yeah,
There's
talk
like
about it.
so there's the ability to do like a successful action now. Like you can fill up a gauge and then you can basically attack all the enemies in one go rather than just one. And there's a bunch of other things, right? So
And it's like
coming
you
out
can
in
if you successfully do that, you can like basically fill up this gauge that'll let you do these like
yeah,
special triple attacks that are, seems like these are probably ways for them to make the game like a little bit less punishing than it probably was back on the
that
Super
was
Nintendo.
my take
You
on
know?
it. Yeah, it was like
Like how
let's
do
make
you
this game a little easier.
how do you make it easier without making it easier? You know?
Yeah. It looks really cool. It's really strange to see Mario in that style now, like short, stumpy Mario. It's very rare we see him wandering around like that. But it's nice. I think I'm probably going to play this one over the holiday period. It's out on 17th of November. And I've never played Mario RPG, and
Me
it's been
neither.
one of those
I'm really
games that I've
excited
always
though.
wanted to play. Yeah.
Me neither. It's gonna depend on how the winter goes. I'll probably have bandwidth to play it, but I'm like, if I don't, I might wait, but
Yeah.
probably gonna get it at some point. Just might not be day one.
I'd be interested to see what you think about it because I know like you're into turn-based RPGs. So like
Right. Yeah, I've
I
just never
wonder
played that. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if it'll click.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones that, like, I've started a couple times and I've just never, like, actually committed to it, But, like,
Yeah.
everybody swears
Was
up
there
and
any
down that
reason
it's
why?
great.
Was it because of controls or the story, or it just felt too old?
I don't think it was anything like that. I think it's more like just you know how, like this, I guess, will be a bit of a retread if you've listened to us talk about this on the Steam Deck podcast. But like I've expressed to you on that show how owning the Steam Deck has like really fundamentally changed the way that I interact with emulators. And I think it's
Mm.
that. I think it's that by the time I tried playing it, it just never felt like it was like the right form factor. Like when I tried playing it on like my because I think it was on the Super Nintendo Mini, right? No,
I
maybe
don't
not.
know. I don't
Maybe it's
think it
not.
was.
Either way,
Yeah.
I remember trying to play it on some setup like that on a TV, and I was like, I don't like playing this on a big screen TV because it's a Super Nintendo game and it feels blown out in a way that's like it
Mhm.
just felt wrong. And it's like tried playing it on a PC, and I was like, it just never clicked. And it was, I think, less the game than it was me just not liking the way I was interacting with it. So I'm super stoked to have a new, stab at it that is like built for the Switch with the Switch in mind.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have been happy enough with it coming to the Switch Online collection, but the fact that it's just a flat out remake, it was great. I mean, we only really got one new reason to re-up on Switch Online in this direct, which I thought was interesting. I thought we'd have got some more games brought to the emulators, or maybe a new system
I think they're
added,
running out
or
of
Yeah.
cards to play.
some stuff on the expansion pass. Like, there's got to be some like DLC you can shove in there at this point, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for maybe
Yeah.
like a game that, there were the
Like
DLCs like
old Pokemon DLC. Like, just shove that on there.
or like, like something
I
like Xenoblade or something like that, like where it's like, oh yeah, like, if you were gonna buy it, you probably bought it already, right? Like I could see them doing something like that, but I don't know. Maybe they're holding their cards for what comes next. But I
Next
mean,
week's Nintendo Direct, yeah.
yeah, I get
Can you imagine?
like yeah, we're running it back again 2 weeks
But
later.
wait,
We
there's
get another
more.
one. They did. I guess they technically had two things because there was the Mario Kart 8 expansion. Like and you can buy that a la
Yeah, I
carte.
Final
guess,
But
pass.
yeah.
Wait.
that looks. We got some good stuff there, right? Like we're
Mm,
getting some new characters, getting some new tracks. We're getting
yeah.
Pauline.
We got a new funky
Paul,
mode. It's great.
yeah, come on, Diddy Kong. Come
Yeah.
on, it's pretty good. So
Yeah.
I'm into that. But I will say the other big perk that they announced, I think, is sick. F-Zero 99 is so cool. I'm a big fan of specifically that F-Zero. That is the F-Zero that I played,
Yeah,
and
the
it's
original.
because during the early days of the Wii U, there was that era. If you owned a Wii U at launch, you'll remember this well, where there was very few games on it, and they're like, "Hey, we're doing a thing with the virtual console where we're going to release a bunch of retro games and like we'll give you one for like 30 cents. It'll be one different game a month. F-Zero is one of those games. So I played the crap out of F-Zero during that time and I loved it. And I think it's like such a good candidate for like a Battle Royale 99 mode. Like this is a fun way to bring F-Zero back and do something new with it and like giving you the ability to like customize the cars and like add new functionality you would expect of a modern game, but built on the bones of that, that classic. Like
I mean,
this
this
is
is the
such a
first
cool thing.
time this game's ever had multiplayer.
Yeah.
The original F-Zero
Yeah.
never ever had multiplayer, and the fact that you can now race 98 other people is really cool. And they did it in a really, I think, thoughtful way. The fact that it's based on hitting other vehicles, so there is a level of skill involved, but then there's also that way to get ahead, where it basically takes you above the whole track and you
Like a second
fly
track and
over
you can
them like a
boost over
second track
everybody.
above. Yeah, yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I think this is really cool. And this is like a good use of an old IP that people have been begging for them to do something new with. And this is like a fun way to do that. And it reminds me of like the NES remix stuff when it's like, it's cool when they take something retro and do something new with it rather than just being like, here it is again. It's like, and
Hmm.
don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, that's cool. I'm happy to have the original version, but like, people who want something fresh, like this is a cool way to do that for sure. And I'm sure not a huge development lift because it's built on the bones of something that's done.
I hope it sticks around though. We've only had Tetris 99 stick around at this point. We've had Mario 35 and Pac-Man
Yeah.
99. They've gone away. I really hope they can get another one that sticks as much as Tetris did.
Me
Because
too.
people still play Tetris all the time.
Yeah. With Pac-Man, I wonder if there was a licensing issue and it was like not getting enough play for it to be worth like continuing to
Yeah,
pay for.
possibly.
Whereas like
Yeah.
Mario, like they said it was limited when they announced it. Like we
Yeah,
knew
which
it
was
was time.
stupid.
Yeah, but we knew that, right? Whereas like this doesn't seem that way, and it's obviously something they own. So I feel like even if it's not super popular, it probably won't hurt them to keep it around. So
Yeah.
hopefully it doesn't
Yeah.
suffer that same fate.
Them announcing that made me think there was like something else F-Zero coming up, but then
Me
nothing.
too, yeah.
When they
Like
first
a little
showed it,
tease.
when they first like showed the Super Nintendo like like the starting line, I thought it was
Right.
gonna be like
They
yeah, flash
Yeah.
forward to now, and here's a new
Whoa!
one,
Free.
and I was like, "Oh, shit," but then when it was this, I was like, "Actually, I might be, like, more into this than that anyway," because like,
No, I
I
really want a new F-Zero. Like, I guess we've got Mario Kart, and that fills that hole, especially considering Mario Kart 8 is
I
quite
just don't know how it
fast-paced
would
in
be different.
places.
Yeah, like, how would you make it different than Mario Kart? It's just faster? It's, like, it's more hardcore? Like, I
More
don't know.
focused on
The
the racing, the
vehicles,
tuning the vehicles, like, you've
the
got a
Yeah.
story
space.
mode with, like, licenses and stuff, like, you make it more of, like, a simulation style game. It's basically their version of Wipeout is what they need to make.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I think there's room for both Mario Kart and F-Zero, but I don't think Nintendo thinks there is.
Yeah, if there can be 12 JRPGs in this direct, there can be multiple racing games.
You're telling me we can have 8 Mario games and no and only 1 racing game?
No other racing. There's only one allowed.
There can only be 1. I feel like if they're gonna commit to that, like, if they're like, "Look, it's F-Zero, all that, it's dead. We're not doing it," like, just let's blow it out. Like, let's get some like, keep calling it Mario Kart if you want. We don't need to change the name up, but let's keep bringing in more weird characters. I want more of the
The smash of racing.
yeah, bring more
Yeah.
weirdos off the bench. Like,
Mhm.
well, we got Big Blue in here. Put Captain Falcon in the game. Throw these
We
F-Zero
need we
kids a
need
bone.
s we
Yeah.
need Sora with those big shoes, like, he'll be going, like, super quick
That'd be
down
really
the
dangerous
Oh,
to
racetrack.
yeah.
drive in those shoes. All right, so we'll keep jumping around. We got another look at Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, and we got like a proper look at it, right?
Yeah, what did you think of this? I was a bit disappointed with the visuals, I'll be honest. Like, I thought we were gonna get this Luigi's Mansion 2 in the Luigi's Mansion 3 engine, and I
Mm,
guess that's on me for
yeah, I
thinking
think that
that.
was wishful thinking on your part, my guy. I
Because
very much
it's
expect this.
definitely not that.
No, I it looks exactly like I expected, which is they took the
Yeah.
low res 3DS models and just put them in HD, and it looks fine. You know, like
Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks fine, but we know we're getting the Luigi's Mansion, like, remake, right? And I thought we were gonna get the same with 2, and
no, no, no,
3's already
that's not a
there.
thing. Well, there's
Is
not
Luigi's
a
Mansion remake not there?
mm-mm, not in development.
Oh,
Just this.
Huh.
uh, that's so strange then. I'm sure
It.
they announced the Luigi's Mansion remake.
I
I know,
don't.
this is like some Mandela effect shit. I also thought that they were putting Luigi's
Yeah.
Mansion on the
I
Switch.
don't. I don't think so.
Is it
I
not on
think.
the Switch?
Let me see. Let me see.
Why would
Okay.
you be able to play 2 and 3 and then not bring the
Yeah, what
first
the
one?
I
That's
don't. I don't know what you
absolutely
want, but I'm
ridiculous
telling
if
you.
that's the case.
No, yeah. I'm telling you, that
Nintendo
doesn't
moment.
exist. It's just Dark Moon.
Wow,
What
okay.
the fuck?
It's just number two.
Like, you got a new
Like,
one.
why?
Eh, It's weird to me because it feels like they should put it out as a pack because the original game is not long enough to warrant being a $60 remake in 2023, I don't think, or 4. Because you can beat that game in like
No,
5
but they
hours.
could do it like I think they did the Pikmin as, like, cheap games, right? They were 30 each, 2 and 3.
Yeah, yeah, and I feel like you
So
could
you could
do
do
that, but I
that.
think even so though, like being like that game's $30 and then this game is $30. This game is way deeper than that game, you know? To my knowledge anyway. So I don't know. I feel like it's insane to not have the whole trilogy on the Switch though. When
Yeah,
you're like
it
you're right
really
there.
does seem insane.
Yeah. You got Tomb Raider. Come on. This is your own
We got
IP,
the Tomb
Nintendo.
Raider trilogy.
Come on.
So summer 2024 on this one. So I think this is the currently the farthest out game that we have a date for. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
wild to me. I think it's a huge missed opportunity for spooky season 2023, but I know, like, Luigi heads will play this game no matter what, no matter the season. So,
Yeah, I hear summer 2024 and I'm imagining it comes out in like August and it's like right ahead of spooky season.
Yeah,
oh yeah, that's
I
right, 'cause they
think
did
you
say
could be right,
summer.
unless the new Switch is out that half of the year, in which case I think it
Yeah.
comes out June, July.
Good
If the
point.
new Switch is back half of 2024 instead of
Yeah,
first half of 2024, they're gonna get all of the stuff we know about that's like, easily runs on Switch out the door and then launch with some heavy hitters. You don't launch
sure.
with a remake or the
Although I
remaster
guess
even.
it doesn't really matter that much because you got to like the console's theoretically going to be backwards compatible. So like even a game like this, like it'll still probably sell on the new hardware.
Yeah, but do you want this to be like one of the titles that people consider as like your launch lineup for your new console? It's just a
Probably not.
remaster of a 3DS game. Like I
Yeah,
think, but they did the same shit with Luigi's Mansion 3. That didn't come out in October either, as far as I'm aware. It was like a summer title as well. I think I remember playing that.
that might be right. It might have been August, early September, somewhere
Do they
around
not
there.
release games like spooky games in October? It's so strange.
They don't make
Yeah.
spooky games. This is their only spooky IP. They don't. They got no other cards to play.
No, Luigi's Mansion 3 was apparently released on 31st of October.
Oh, it
So
was on
they did it right
Halloween.
there.
Okay,
Yeah,
shoot.
yeah. Dark Moon on 3DS was the 20th of March, so they just don't care about that game.
That's weird. That's weird. That's a weird time for that. But whatever. It's like whatever. It's a good game and people will play it when it comes out. All right. So we're jumping around a little bit here. We're gonna jump to the end and talk about this one because they ended things with one of the other bigger announcements, which is that the long uh asked for remake of Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door is finally coming, and just another nail in that GameCube games on Switch coffin because this is yet another like classic GameCube Nintendo game that's getting a Switch full HD remake rather than coming to NSO or something like that. But
That's
I think that
crazy.
I think that's fine, right? Like it is what it is. We we got to cut our losses with that one. But very cool to see this. I've never played this game, always wanted to.
Me too.
I know Chewy, this is one he's evangelized to all three of us for years, and
Hmm.
I'm super stoked by the idea of getting
I
another shot at it.
I've never played a Paper Mario game, so this will probably be my first,
By
and
all
I'm
accounts,
happy
this is
that
the
it's
best
my
one, right?
first. Yeah, because everyone says it's the best, so I'm
Yeah.
excited to give it a try. Looked super charming, wonderful, love the art style. Looks exactly like what I want from this game. You know, it's the same game, up-res. They probably do some new stuff with it, like they did with Mario RPG, and I'm sure we'll find out nearer the time what they'll be changing and adapting. And I'm sure people are digging at the trailer right now and figuring out what differences there are already, you know, pixel
Mhm.
pass style. Um, I was really excited about it when it closed out the show. I thought it was a great way to close the show. Versus the opening of the show, which I thought was weak, but the close
Yeah,
of the
I was
show
just
was
like,
really cool.
"Okay, it's Splatoon."
Yeah.
Okay.
I turned my head for a minute while like the direct was like, yeah, I had like the oh, it's gonna be on in a second, and then like it started with the Splatoon stuff, and I was like, is this like an ad before the direct? Like, is that like it's like like
Yeah.
they'll do that at like the Game Awards, where it's like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a commercial for GTA 5, and then it actually starts. I was like, what is? And I was like, oh right, yeah, they're still putting out DLC for that game, huh?
Why
Okay.
do Splatoon segments always open with, like, no fucking music or fanfare? It's like, "Well, here it is,
Walking at the
Splatoon."
slowest pace as well, like,
Yeah,
you know, just
yeah!
sauntering down.
I feel like they always
God,
present it with this like very like
it's like so
Sonic
cool.
Adventure-esque like 2000s edgelord energy where it's like, guys, you made them children. Like you can't make them little tiny kids if you want them to seem tough. Like Squid Kids are not tough. All right? Like I'm sorry. They're not
Yeah.
badasses.
Looks cool though. It looks like some kind of roguelike
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
where you
Yeah,
you
so much
play it
people
again and again and boost your abilities, and then, you know, you can just play it forever and ever and
This
ever, but
actually
from what
yeah,
they
seems
were
like
saying.
a good piece of content for
Yeah.
what Splatoon is. I thought that was actually looked pretty cool. Even though I think I'm kind of out on that game. I don't see myself going back, but neat for sure.
yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm totally with you. I think Thousand Year Door was a really strong way to end it, and like this was like one of those presentations that like I just gush over the pacing for because it's like it was such a good mix of like here's stuff that's happening today to the next few weeks from now to hear stuff that's 2-3 months away to hear stuff that's 5 to 6 months away. Like that's and then like having this as like the okay, and then this is way further out, but like look forward to it. Like I love that, It's
Yeah,
nice to have
Mhm.
those like waypoints that you can look forward to. When we're trying to like, figure out what the next year and change look like, right? And like especially when you're starting to factor in new hardware and everything, like it's we went from a couple years ago, a couple weeks ago or months ago being like, damn, like everything Nintendo has after Tears of the Kingdom is just a question mark. To now we have like an extremely built out, clear roadmap until seemingly right up until the next console, right?
yeah. I'm
Yeah, it feels
surprised at
like
how much
they
yeah, sorry.
No, go ahead,
No,
Tina.
no, carry on.
I'm surprised at how much content there is, like, I really thought it was gonna, like, slow down. Um, yeah, that was what I was gonna say.
Especially like Steve made a joke about it in the Discord when they were like, "Oh yeah, it's like gonna be all games that come out in the winter," and it's like, how? What do you mean
Yeah,
there's more? What do you mean you have more stuff? Like,
I was also shocked. I guess, like, there I don't know if it's an obligatory direct. I don't know if I would say that, like, they just have them every year, but I was also thinking the same thing. I'm like, "Mm," the June one already felt like their schedule was petering out. So,
Mhm.
I was kind of like, "Alright, we're going into this one with low expectations."
yeah, and like when they were like, "Oh, it's 40 minutes," I was like, "What?" Like,
Yeah,
I guess,
yeah.
and I was like, I guess this is gonna be big. Like, 40
Yeah,
minutes is a long time to just be like stuff that's coming out in the next couple weeks, and like you don't have it. It's like I was like, what are you possibly like? They must have had. I knew they were gonna have reveals, and it's like, what is that possibly gonna look like?
yeah, I was like, "This shit better be good."
And they came correct. Like the Tomb Raider stuff, the Mario versus Donkey Kong, like those were good announcements and like stuff that was unexpected. Whereas like
Yeah,
when Steve and I were predicting last week, we're like, surely they'll show us more of the Peach game. Surely they'll show us more of the Luigi's Mansion remake, sure, and and Mario RPG and whatever, right? We needed to see those games. We needed to learn more about them. So that's fine, right? There's nothing wrong with meeting my expectations.
Yeah.
But
My thing is, so Sierra made a comment that, once Thousand Year Door was revealed, she was like, "Oh, so this means that they're just gonna GameCube games are just gonna be remastered and full
uh-huh.
price, not ports to NSO." And this was a long, like asked for, highly, requested game. So if we want something to be ported and free, do we need to shut the fuck up about
I think so,
We just
yeah.
have zero passion.
um, I mean, I'm gonna pay for it. I'm gonna buy it. I never got to play Thousand Year Door.
Yeah.
I started Paper Mario, didn't finish it. Started Sticker Star, never finished it for a good reason. Origami King was the first and only Paper Mario game I have finished, start to end, roll credits, but Thousand Year Door is, the best one. So and they know that. So, I guess I'm just curious about the price point now.
You gotta imagine it's $60, right?
At least.
I feel like it
At
and Super
least.
Mario RPG are both gonna be $60 games.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, there's no way. I mean, I would imagine Detective Pikachu's is $60 as well, but
Yeah, I would think so.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, 'cause of the
I look at that
movie.
and that's rough.
Some of those are just tough to swallow. That's a wild thing with Nintendo. They really are out here putting out 3DS quality games for $60 still.
They look like they've done nothing on it. Like literally nothing on Detective Pikachu. They just copied and pasted it. There's no shadow at all. The
Oh, I didn't
lighting is
notice that.
so
It's just
bad.
less jagged. It doesn't look like
Oh
a 3
yeah.
it doesn't look
Yeah,
like
we
a
put some
3DS game.
anti-aliasing filter on there because
Yeah,
we've got
yeah,
the
it's like
capacity to do that.
it
But
looks like one of those
yeah.
YouTube videos where people are like, "I took this 3DS game and loaded it on my computer so it looks like real models." It's, it reminds me of the Luigi's Mansion thing where you're like, "Oh, I expected this to look better," and it's like, I didn't. It was a 3DS game. It's like this has that stink on it
Yeah.
where it's like this looks like a 3DS game for sure. But it is a
Yeah, but
Pokemon
Thousand
game,
Thousand Year Door
so
doesn't look like a GameCube game. Thousand Year Door looks like a brand new
yeah, but
title, and
that's
it's
because it was stylized. You look at Paper
yeah.
Mario, the original on the N64. If you made an HD remake of that game, that would look like a new game. It's just
Mhm.
because the
Yeah.
style
Yeah, it looks
ages
like
well.
Origami King.
The Pikmin remasters look pretty good though.
Yeah,
I don't
those are
know. Like
beautiful, and,
Yeah,
4 is beautiful.
I think Pikmin's the same thing though, where it's Pikmin benefits from having a style, and that style aged well. Same thing with Wind Waker. Wind Waker still looks good, and it's because there's certain there's certain things that age better over time, right? And it's so you talk about Tomb Raider, right? And it's that's supposed to have a more realistic quote unquote look to it. And it's that's the
yeah.
stuff that ages the most poorly, right? Because
Yeah.
as we get better at realism, it looks funky and uncanny valley.
Yeah.
There was a point where that was the pinnacle of graphics, and people were like, "How could video games possibly ever
I
look
know
better
people
than
were
this?"
upset that the Wind Waker looked like the way it did. They didn't want it to look like that. They
Ugh.
wanted realistic, which is just insane to me. Do you think we're ever gonna get Wind Waker
I was
on the
gonna talk
Switch
about that with
before the
you.
Switch 2 arrives?
I have
Is that
no
coming,
Oh,
fucking
is
I'm
it?
so
idea. It's
mad.
unbelievable to me that it's not. If you had put a gun to my head and been like, "Guess what? Is this game gonna come to Switch by this?" I would be dead because I would be like, "Yeah, it exists. Why wouldn't they port it?" They ported every other fucking game that came out on Wii U at this point. I
I
feel like
know.
we did this.
There's
We
no
did an
Zombie U
episode
and
where
there's
we
no
looked at the
Nintendo
list.
Land.
There's
And
two.
those are
Yeah,
tragedies.
it's those two. It's that's it at this point. I don't. It makes no sense because it's it would be a bestseller. It's one of the most popular Zelda games.
I
I don't know.
I don't get it either, dude.
It'll
I'm gonna say
happen,
something.
but
Maybe they're saving it for a year where they're just like, shit, we got nothing else. And they just
I think that's
know.
genuinely it. I think they're holding it for a gap year where they're hey, because think about it, right? Tears of the Kingdom just came out. The next Zelda's got to be years away. At some
Yeah.
point, you're gonna want
I
to be
think we're
like,
getting a 2D Zelda next. I think they've got to have
maybe.
one of those in the work.
And
Mm.
yeah, but you would think, right? Like we haven't gotten a top-down Zelda since Link Between Worlds on the 3DS, which was I was in college. It was
Well,
like
you got Link's
2014.
Awakening. I think you could probably count that one.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. I forgot about that. That's a
I feel
remake
like
though.
they have
Uh,
to know. They have to know how bad we want it. They got some social media motherfucker sitting at headquarters doing social listening, at least one, fetching all of the input from social media and, like, presenting it in a stupid Google Doc, and they might not look at it, they might be. Somebody has to know there. That is what the people want, but
and like you got to
saving it
imagine they're
for them.
thinking about that when you have the context of like Zelda being the best, like at the peak of its sales relevance, like since Ocarina, and it's eclipsed that, right? It's like they got to be thinking about, okay, how do we got to get another team spinning out top down Zeldas every other couple of years too, right? Like
Yeah.
we can't just leave that on the table. It's one
Well,
of the
yeah, I
few
think they did this.
franchises they have that you can actually do multiple versions of it, you know? Like, it's that Mario and, like, Metroid, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
you gotta be cashing those checks
Well,
in
and they've
both
done that
ends.
with Mario and with Metroid now. We've had successful 2D releases for both. Um, so I would imagine that Zelda's probably following the same suit. Everyone was clamoring for a Zelda maker for a very long time, and I wonder if that idea is ever going to come to
I
fruition.
think that ship sailed.
Yeah, me too. Would have been
It's a
cool though.
shame. Yeah, it would've been. So, one of the other ones we've got on the horizon, obviously, WarioWare Move It. That's on November 3rd. We've talked about this game a bunch at this point. I don't really feel like there was any it's just kinda just was like a reminder that this game's coming and
What did you
get
think
hyped
of the
for it.
Wario voice though?
It
Like,
sounded a lot
he
different. It did
yeah,
not
it
sound as
really did.
close to the new Mario.
I
Like,
didn't notice.
I if you listen back with, like, specifically listening, I wonder if you would, 'cause I don't know. It caught me off guard a little bit. I was like, "Oh," like, the Mario Wonder voice to me, like, I could tell on and I've made this joke a million fucking times now, right? But the way he goes, "Wanda," it's like, that sounds a little different, and I'm like, "Okay," like, it sounds like Mario, but it doesn't quite sound like Charles. Whereas, like, this, I was like, "This kind of feels like a different voice to me." And, like,
Yeah,
it
really
still
did.
sounds like Wario, but it kinda sounds like a person doing a Wario voice rather than
Wario.
yeah.
Was it deeper?
No,
No.
no, it was
Okay, I
just
definitely did not hear it
It
then. I
felt
have
like
to go back.
airier to me. Like, I feel like there's a way like, the way that Charles does
it
Wario
was less nasally. Like Wario is very
Mm.
like a
I feel
nasally
like it's very,
voice.
like, at the back of his throat, you know, it's like, "Wah,"
Yeah.
like, it's like, it's not breathy, it's, like, very, like, staccato-y and, like, he's like he says a full sentence where he's like, "Oh, like, how's going on a vacation with these guys?" You know, like and I was like, "Oh, like, that's" and it wasn't, like, bad, it was just it was different, it definitely felt different to me.
Yeah, I specifically was listening for it because I knew that this was gonna be one of the voices that we hadn't heard. Obviously, Luigi's Mansion is gonna be Charles. I'm curious to see what Luigi and Waluigi sound like because I don't feel like we've really heard them.
No. No, yeah, we haven't had an opportunity. I'm still very interested to find out how many voice actors it is. Like, is it 4 unique voice actors for each character, or is Mario and Luigi the same person? Is Wario and Waluigi the same person? Are they all the same person? I don't know.
Yeah.
So then, in a, a bit of news that I think mostly appeals to me and other dorks like me, but we talked a little bit about Amiibo, and we got some updates. I was very stoked about the Tears of the Kingdom, like second wave, I guess. The Zelda and Ganondorf Amiibo are both going to be out on November 3rd. Noah and Mio, the two like lead characters from Xenoblade Chronicles 3, are getting a set on the 19th of January, and then Sora, which is insane to think the last Super Smash Brothers amiibo is coming out just in 2024. We don't have a hard date on that one yet. But very stoked. I've been looking forward to all of these. Didn't know if we would get Xenoblade ones, so pretty happy to see those, and definitely looking forward to adding these ones to the collection for sure.
It's the last one for now. I still believe that they're gonna do the Mario Kart treatment on this. and we're gonna get more
Like next gen, you
fighters.
think?
Yeah, I think
Maybe.
we're just gonna have them, and you can either buy them or you can get it as part of the NSO.
I could see that, but I'm just like, I don't like is Sakurai involved? Because if he's not, then I
No,
just don't
I don't
I
think
don't
so. No.
I don't know if they do that then. Like he was so involved in all those DLC characters, and I feel like he's done. And like if
Yeah.
he's done, I feel like you gotta let it sit for a while. I feel like Smash needs to not come back for like a console generation.
I
He was
think it
even
could be the
like
same game, but just DLC. Just like here's some new
yeah.
levels, here's some more music, here's some additional
Levels and
characters.
stuff I can get behind because I think you can implement those without his involvement, but I think adding new fighters gets weird. I really do. Maybe that's me
Hmm.
being too precious, but it's like Smash is one of those like auteur works. Like it's so tied to him and his input and his work and his fucking 45-minute presentations where he shows you all the combos and like talks to you about how in a fever dream he woke up in the middle of the night and was like Steve from Minecraft. And like he's so intimately invested in it. I can't imagine them adding new fighters without him. I just can't.
I know. He was even like in one of his videos on his gaming development channel. He was like, I can't imagine a Smash without me, and I know how they're gonna do it.
I just don't know. And like it will happen, of course. And like that's okay. Don't get me wrong. I'm positive we can someday get a good Smash Brothers game made without Sakurai's involvement.
Yeah,
But
we
I
got
feel
we got good Mario games without Miyamoto at the
sure.
helm. Like
Yeah.
he's there, but
Yeah.
he's
Or
not
like
really
I
involved.
Numa, right? Who's like the head of the Zelda team now, right? Like he didn't create Zelda, right? Miyamoto
Mm.
hasn't worked on Zelda in like fucking 30 years. It's fine. But it's like this is already his game. Like this was his like swan song, magnum opus. This is me saying goodbye to the series that I built. Adding content to it, new content to it without his involvement feels dicey. Whereas like if they were just like, we're adding every level from the past Smash games that didn't make it to Ultimate, I'd be like, whatever. I can live with that. That's fine. That seems like
Right.
reasonable to me. Bring back Poke Floats or whatever. That's fine.
Oh, that'd be great. Poke Floats remastered.
Like break the targets or something. Give me some of that
Yeah.
that nonsense.
Oh,
I
classic.
just want Waluigi. Just like bring Waluigi there.
I know.
You
I know.
gotta wait for Smash 5. Sorry.
Uh-huh.
Smash 6? This is 5, isn't it?
I think
This
it's
is 5, right? It's 1, Melee, Brawl, 4, Ultimate.
so it would be
Yeah.
6 if they went with a naming convention.
So Smash 6, that's where you'll get Waluigi. You heard it here
Okay.
first. So then we got check-ins on a bunch of other games that are some third-party stuff. They talked a little bit about Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, which we've talked about a couple times already. Looks good. Looking forward to it. January 18th, so not too far out.
Yeah, Chris said he played this, right? When he was on the Flip Screen Games podcast. He
He
played
did,
it at
yeah.
Gamescom, really enjoyed it, said it reminded him a lot of Metroid Dread. I'm really looking forward to it after speaking with Chris about it because I loved Metroid Dread. I'm hankering after another one. I
Yeah.
loved Metroid Fusion. I could go for another Metroid right now. There isn't one that I want to play, so I'll check out Prince of Persia.
Oh,
I think
yeah, I
that's
was hoping there was gonna be, like, Metroid 4 anything in this
I
direct. That
know.
was very disappointing.
There's
Or like
got to be
even
the
like
launch title for Switch 2. It's just got to be.
right? It feels that way. I don't know. Or at least like we talked about this last week. It would have been cool to get like announcement of like Prime 2 remastered, like keep putting those out in the meantime because obviously the first one went over so well this year. Like you could announce it for like early next year.
Christ,
But
I forgot that was this year.
I know this year's off the
What this
chain.
year is so weird.
It's so good. It's unbelievable how many extremely sick games came out this year. Speaking of which, Trombone Champ dropping on Nintendo eShop later today. Very, obviously a big hit on Steam earlier this year. So cool to see that with like the gyro controls and everything.
That was my
Oh, the
favorite
IR
surprise.
camera. The IR thing where it's just like, what are those things called where you like wave your hand on them, the instruments, and it
Oh,
like changes the pitch?
a theremin.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you basically use it like a theremin. You like
Yeah,
move your
that
hand
is
closer
so
and further
funny.
away. It was so cool.
very funny.
On my synth, I have a Roland Juno, and Roland specifically invented the function D-beam, which is like that. It's like an IR sensor, and to make noise and change the pitch, you like wave your hand, like certain
Yo,
distances. You
I didn't
can
know
like
you
make it
had the
do
synth.
vibrato. What?
You gotta bring the synth over next time.
Okay, I will. I will. But yeah. I can't wait to play Trombone Jam. I'm lazy. I could have downloaded it on Steam, but it was just like one of those things like, haha, I'll play it eventually. But the Switch, I just boot that shit up. I mean, I downloaded it. I bought it earlier.
Oh, are you
Streaming it
Um,
streaming that
later?
one?
yes. Well,
Yo.
I keep rescheduling Tears of the Kingdom. I have to play that game tonight. I'm still not off the tutorial island, and I started playing that game in July.
All right, so
I
next week we'll play Trombone Jam.
I'm gonna squeeze in a little Trombone Jam.
That's awesome. I love it. So another hot indie game from this year coming to Switch, Dave the Diver, getting a lot of
I'm
buzz.
so into this game.
It looks really cool.
Yeah.
I've not heard anybody not sing its praises, and it reminds me a lot of Moonlighter, which is an indie game from a couple years ago that
Oh,
Steve and
nice.
I
It reminded
love.
me a lot of the fishing game, Moonlight Bay or something.
Moonglow
Moonglow
Bay?
Bay, Moonglow
Yeah.
Bay, that me and Chewy played on
Mm.
an Xbox. It's so much like that. Like you go fishing, you can cook food, and then you like serve it up. It's so
I
good.
gotta write that
Looks
down.
awesome.
Moon Glow?
Moonglow
Yeah,
Bay.
Moonglow Bay. Yeah.
Okay.
Very pretty
But
game.
yeah, Moonlighter as well. Like, you go and you do stuff and then you bring it back and you profit from doing the stuff. And in
Yeah,
this
it's just
case, you
like
go and
just a
you
good loop.
catch fish.
You know, it's
Yeah.
like you're out there like doing the adventuring and it's like you're leveling up your character or whatever, but it's like the loot has purpose because it's like cool. Then during the day you run the restaurant and like then that feeds into your next run because you can buy better gear and it's like that. It's satisfying. It's a good gameplay loop if you can get it right. And like by all accounts, Dave the Diver is one that nails that formula pretty well. So I'm excited to see it come to consoles and see more people get their hands on it for sure.
Yeah. I'm really excited to play this one. They sold me so hard on it. The cast of characters looks really cool.
Yeah.
Anything with sushi in it, food, I'm like invested, and I love the art style. It's really cool.
It's got a good look, yeah, really nice
Yeah.
pixel art and stuff, like, yeah, it's a cool vibe. I'm hoping I get a chance to play it before the end of the year so that I can weigh in on it for game of the year because it seems like my vibe.
Mhm.
So then we gotta look at Unicorn Overlord, which is a game where it's from the creators of 13 Sentinels, and it's published by Atlas, and it is a game where it seems like there's 3 main characters and then there's like 60 other characters that you can recruit, and it's like they were touting about it being like a reinvention of the tactical RPG, and like they were really like kind of gassing up the idea that it was like this big expansive thing and that it was going to be, groundbreaking for the genre in some way, which, at first I was kind of like, okay, but then it's like the context of it being the 13 Sentinels team, which I know is really beloved, it being published by Atlas, it's like, oh, yeah, maybe, like I'm down. I want to believe.
I'm gonna skip this one, I think.
Yeah, me too.
But it looks
March
cool.
8th, 2024. If you want to get it. Skip for use too then, Steve.
My mum told me if I don't have anything nice to say, then not to say anything at all. So.
Oh,
You're
buddy,
so
I gotta
right.
go
So
tattle on you then, because that's not been my experience with
Clip
you.
him. Clip him.
Clip this out and send it to his mother. Or his dad. You can find his dad. He'll get it to her. Okay, so then we got Saga Emerald Beyond. And I gotta be honest with you, I don't remember what this game was. I don't remember what it looks
No, me
like.
neither.
I
I saw
cannot.
the saga text in the thing, and then I zoned out. And then the
Me
next thing I know, it was Tomb Raider on. No, it wasn't. It was another code on the screen, and that's all I cared.
I feel so bad,
I can't
but I'm
believe
like,
none of us know what this
I
game
got
is.
I got nothing. I got nothing. And like I tried to remember. I'm looking at pictures
Something.
of it and I like barely even recognize it. I'm like, Did I watch this trailer?
No, this is where it became like RPG Soup, the direct. I was like,
Yeah, I
"Huh?"
do remember this one. Yeah, I do.
I
I got nothing from it, but I do remember it.
Yeah, so I guess we'll say nothing at all then.
Right!
So, then we gotta look at, this was an interesting reveal. I don't know if this had been shown anywhere else before, but Among Us is getting a new map, and I
Among
I very much had a moment of just being like, "Huh, I kinda
Who
forgot
is
that this game
still
exists."
who is still Among Us? Who is still playing this game?
Who Among Us is playing Among Us is my
I
question.
know, yeah, I was watching this with my partner, and they said the same thing. I was like, "Oh, people still play that?" I was like, "No, I don't think so. I think all the kids have just moved on to drinking Prime energy drinks now, and that's
I
all they do."
wonder though, right? Because it's like it was so big. It probably still has like a totally sizable community, but it's just
Yeah.
Yeah.
not a thing anymore, right? Like I don't know, but shout out to them, I guess. The Fungal map, brand new map. I know, and I know that they mean like fun jungle, but now that I'm saying it out loud, and like there were mushrooms, so like it's supposed to be a double entendre, but it sounds bad. It sounds bad. The Fungal map. I don't
Good.
know about all that.
They know their target audience, I guess.
I guess that's true. Then we got 2 new League of Legends story games. So these are like those games from that imprint over at Riot, where basically they're trying to make all these like new indie style games that are starring the League of Legends champions. I haven't played any of them yet, but I think it was the one that just came out earlier this year, like Runes of Terra. I'm a little fuzzy on the lore. I can't quite remember, but I remember it was really well received. Like it ended up getting some really good buzz, and like people that do not play League, do not care about League, were saying that they were good. So it feels like these are games that are probably worth checking out and paying attention to if they seem like they're within your genre. The first one is Song of Nunu, and it looks like it's like a story-driven adventure game, and it's like about how the 2 characters that make up that champion like became friends. Basically, it's like an origin story for them. And then the other one, Bandle Tale, is like a crafting RPG that doesn't look like it stars a League of Legends character, but it's in oh, I can't remember the name of the realm, but it's where the Yordles live. Oh, maybe Bandle's the name of it. I can't.
This
I'm
game looks
showing my
so
ass
cute.
right now because I don't
It
remember all
looks
the
so cute, though.
lore details, but basically the Yordles are a race of like cute little fuzzy guys, and a lot of them are insane scientists, and this is a game in that realm, and you're rebuilding it. So pretty cool stuff.
I didn't even realize that one was a League of Legends game. I saw it, and I just thought it looked adorable,
Yep.
and I wanted to go play it.
I think that's
And
I
what
the
they
art
want.
style was just gorgeous.
I thought they were both the same League of Legends game because I tuned out for like a few seconds and didn't see the transition between the 2
You're
tra
just like, this is a really weird set of art
Yeah.
styles.
Yeah.
Like, how do
They
these
keep saying League of
intersect?
Legends, League of Legends. I'm like, "Okay."
Fair enough. Speaking of League of Legends, we saw a game called Battle Crush, which is a 30 player. It's like a battle royale. It's a brawler, but like I don't know. But I thought it looked pretty cool actually. I feel like these kinds of games are I feel like their moment has kind of passed, and I think the idea of like a new one getting over, like it seems increasingly difficult. But I
Yeah,
did
I agree.
looked like it had a good like the gameplay looked fun, like I could see the fun of it and like how the stakes of the match were like escalating over time and stuff. Like it looked like a novel, like unique entry into that type of games, like that genre, but I don't know. Like I feel like
I don't think
that
there's
kind of
enough room for it, and I
no.
think launching just on Switch and before you launch on the other consoles is a mistake. You're limiting your player base. People will go in, they'll play it for a little bit, and then they'll drop off, and they probably won't come back. And that's been a problem for a lot of these free to play titles.
Yeah.
What was the one that then claimed they were in early access after they'd taken loads of people's money? Multiverses.
Multiverses.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
no one's going
awkward.
back to that.
We'll see. We'll see. All
Yeah.
right. I want to
How's
Mm.
believe
Fall
still.
Guys doing? That's, like,
Yeah,
on
exactly.
multiple
I don't know. Yeah. They got to relaunch it again in 2 years so that people remember it exists, right? I mean, we talked about this with like the Sony stuff where like they're like investing in all these live service games. I kind of think live service is about to take a dip because like
Yeah.
I think Steve's right where, like, I think the market's too crowded at this point, and I think this has been an inevitable point that eventually there would be too many games in the market to support them. But also, like, I think it gets harder to support those games as, like, times get lean. Like, with us
Oh,
entering in
yeah.
a recession, there being, like, historic high unemployments and not historic, but, in recent memory, right? Unemployment is on the rise is what I mean to say. Um you tighten the belt, right? And even if you keep playing the free to play games, it's like you're not spending money on a battle pass or this or that, or like you're not
Or
going
if
to be
you are, it's
willing to
on one of them. It's on
right.
one a month, and
You're
you're
not jumping
picking the
into that
one
new game
game,
and plunking
yeah,
down money
and
into
giving
it,
it a
right?
go. No, yeah, absolutely not.
And
Yeah,
I I just feel like it's an unsustainable business model after a certain point. And it's like for the winners, it's great. For the Fortnites and the Destinies and for the folks that can do it and stick around and keep making money on it, it's an extremely lucrative model. But it's
mm,
a huge gamble to invest 5, 6 years of your life and millions of dollars into making a game that might shut down in 8 months. And it's like,
yeah,
how many times have we've seen that happen, like 3, 4 games this year, right? Between Knockout City and Rumbleverse and some others that I can't remember right now. These are games that came out and were pretty well received and had player bases and shut down in like a year. And like, who's making that game? If I wouldn't bet the future of my studio on a game like that right now. Seems like a real risk. Whereas, like, if you make a good single player game, you get a return on your investment, you make enough money to make the next one.
yeah. You know, I found out this week that Fall Guys runs on Unity, so I think we should
Hmm.
probably spend some time to shift
Oh,
that.
no.
Hmm.
We got to talk about that
Hmm.
Unity situation because it is rough. That is something else. But that's a story for, I guess, next week's Flip Screen Games podcast. We'll see what happens. We have to do a special report on that one. We got a couple more games to talk about here in just a second, but let me remind you that this episode of Nintendo Noise is brought to you by our Patreon producers for the month of September. They are, of course, Arnold J. Rimmer, Christopher Valens, Earth Visitor, Gabriel Hasselmeyer, aka Asobi, Snackago, Ty the Dude, and Wakahula. Thank you all so much for your support over on patreon.com/flipscreengames. You all the realest of the real, and we greatly appreciate your support of this and all of our sister shows. If you want to go and show your support just like they did, or if you want to go and find some of those sister shows, find our Discord, right into our question block, or just get involved in any of the many, many, many ways that you can get involved or show your support, head over to flipscreen.games. That's our website. You'll find links to all that and much, much more. Head over there, click on some stuff. It helps us out a lot, and it won't cost you a pretty penny unless you want to go above and beyond to show your support over on Patreon, which, of course, we appreciate so very much. All right, so we got a couple more games to talk about. We're through the A tier stuff at this point. We're getting towards some of the bottom of the barrel here, but there's still some stuff. We had Contra Operation Galuga, which is basically a HD remake, reimagining, however you want to slice it, of the original Contra. Um, another game fitting in that theme that you identified there, Steve, of a lot of nostalgia bait, a lot of going back to the well on some of this stuff.
Well, Konami, especially in this direct, right? We had 3 Konami games, which I think we're going to get onto. This one, was it? Are you doing Chronicle? Was that them?
I think
Maybe
that's how
that's
you
not
say that.
them,
Yeah,
but Super Crazy Rhythm Castle was them as well. Like, they had a bunch of games here for a company that doesn't make games anymore. They certainly are making games
and
again.
that's the thing, they do
Um,
now. They clearly do,
yeah.
right? Like they've been doing a lot of
Well, they're
they're
not
doing a lot
actually
of
making
remakes and
any of
remasters
these.
and yeah, no, it's all partnerships, but
Yeah.
they're looking for ways to bring their IP back, and a lot of it seems to be reintroducing classics in like third party produced remakes. Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Contra's one of the big dogs.
Yeah, and Way Forward do good work. So I would imagine this is
True.
probably going to be a good release. It's not a game that I have any kind of nostalgia with. I
Nah, me
played
neither.
Contra Hardcore on the Mega Drive, but that was all on the what did you guys call that? The Genesis. Um, so yeah, it looks all right.
Eastward Octopia is a DLC for Eastward, and interesting because it's like, to my knowledge, Eastward not at all a farming sim, and this is very much a farming sim, just set in the world of Eastward, seemingly.
Yeah. It is Eastward's. It's like a spin on Earthbound, right?
Yeah, kind
Um,
of, right?
like that vibe.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's like a story game, and you go on adventures and stuff. You can now play Eastward Octopia, which they said you don't need to play Eastward in order to play Eastward Octopia. You
Yeah.
do need to buy Eastward in order to buy Eastward Octopia. But if you just want to
Interesting.
play a new farming sim, you can do. Don't know
Weird.
why I
Weird
would play
choice.
this. Yeah, there's going to need to
Yeah.
be a reason for me to play this over Stardew Valley, and a reason for me to buy the
Right.
game and the DLC over Stardew Valley.
Yeah. And, like, it's cool, but, like, it feels like a weird decision.
Yeah,
But
why
maybe
not
it
just
makes more
release it
sense
as
if you
another
played
game?
the original game, I don't know. But it seems weird to be
It
like,
could do.
"Here's the DLC." It's basically a new game in a totally different genre, but it seems strange to me a little bit. Would love to hear from someone who's played the original game, though. So then we got, Yuden Chronicle, 100 Heroes. This is that one where it's like they were, you have 100 different characters. It's a JRPG. It's a turn-based JRPG. I don't got much to say about this one. I'm sorry.
People are really excited about it.
I
It's the
know.
spiritual successor to Suikoden 1 and 2, and I know that the kind of, mm, filler game that they released wasn't well received, and
Sure.
I've spoken to both Wakahula and Ray about it, and they both hated the game. Um, but people are excited about this one, and it looks good. Suikoden is very beloved.
I hope that it ends up being good because I know that there are fans that are very, very jazzed about it. So for Wakahula and Ray's sake, I hope that it comes together. Horizon Chase 2 was an arcade speed, like very, very like burnout y kind of looking game almost in like style and presentation. It's like that very like 90s, early aughts, like hyper,
It looks like Outrun.
yeah, yeah, totally, totally. Um, Not really my kind of game, but I thought the aesthetic of it was really cool. It's like that kind of like it's interesting to see that it feels like we're getting to an era where people are making games that are nostalgic for like that PS2 like early aughts arcade vibe, where it's like it like looks more modern but still definitely old. It's I don't know. It's a cool tone. I definitely dug the look and feel of it, even if it's not the type of game I'm really gonna get into.
Yeah, this is also, basically a mobile game. Came out on Apple Arcade last year. Finally coming to other platforms. I guess his exclusivity deal with Apple ended. It's coming to PC and also Switch. It's published by Epic Games, so exclusive to the Epic Games
Hmm,
Store on PC.
cool. So then we got a look at Spy X Anya, which is like a slice of life game. You play a young girl who is like working on a photo diary, basically. It's like a photo album, but it's more personal, and like you get to make all these different choices about how you're going to spend your time, and then that ends up influencing what fills the diary. And they were talking about like, go ahead, Sierra. You're trying to get off the
Do
bench
you
here.
guys know the anime that this game is from?
No, oh, it's an anime
No.
game. No.
Yes. Oh my god, you need to watch Spy X Family. It is so good.
Oh, okay. I've
It's
heard of that.
yes, that's what this is.
Okay, so you like the anime? Are you excited about this game?
Yes, Anya is a cornerstone of the show. She's fucking so hilarious. Like you have like the main like three characters are Lloyd Forger, who is the dad, Yor Forger, who's the mom, and Anya Forger, who's the daughter. Here's a caveat: they're not actually a family. Lloyd is a spy, and he's on this mission where he's required to masquerade as a family man. And Anya, he just randomly adopts her to send her to school with the son of the guy he's trying to fucking kill. And,
God.
so then he has to get a wife. I kind of forget, I'm not really able to summarize how, Yor comes into the picture perfectly, but she's secretly an assassin, but all of them have no idea about each other's secret identities, and they're just, like, operating as a false family just
Oh my
because
god.
they all have something to benefit from this fake arrangement. So, it's a really good show, like, even if you're not really into anime, it's so funny and very heartwarming. So I was really excited for this one
Hell
because
yeah. That's awesome.
yeah, Anya's just so hilarious.
It's like it feels like an interesting tie-in game for something like because is it like an action series or is it more like slice of life?
Yeah, it's like, mostly action it's like half action, half slice of
Okay,
life,
cool.
I would say. But also I echo your sentiment, like, I'm surprised it's not more about Lloyd and, like, doing spy
I
missions
think that's cool.
a
That's a
la
cool
Persona.
choice to be like, yeah, you're gonna play as the kid, and like it's this like very
Yeah,
cute, like it's a totally different tact than I guess I would have expected. But I mean, based on what you said, I guess it kind of sounds like it lines up with like the emotional core of the show. So
yeah, because she
that's
has
cool.
psychic powers, so, like, she'll probably use that to, like that'll probably play into, like, the photo diary stuff.
Hell yeah. So yeah, basically they were talking about like it's a lot of different like mini games and stuff that you can play based on like what activities you choose and like that'll influence like what memories are made and end up in the diary and everything. And seems cute.
Yeah. But yeah, I
The
feel like if you don't watch the anime, you're like, "Oh, okay, it's like a kid takes photos, great."
Yeah.
That was kind of my thing. I was like, "Oh, this is like a cute, like different approach to like a slice of life thing." But like hearing that
Yeah.
there's this connection to this IP, it's like, "Oh, okay, that that makes a little more sense now. Like what's going on there."
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's cool. Like it's a very different approach for that type
Yeah.
of tie-in. So you'll have to report back. I'm interested to hear what you think of it.
Will do. It'll be funny if, like, there's, like, a heel turn they're not revealing with, like, the promotion of the game, and, like, at the end, you have to save Lloyd from getting murdered and use your photo diary to, you know, maybe he gets kidnapped or some shit, I don't know, but we'll see.
We'll have to remember that time that we did yoga and see how we can rescue Dad with that information.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, God, we lost Steve.
We
All
lost
right,
him.
well, we'll see what happens. Hopefully he comes back. If not, we'll press on. So, Steve mentioned this earlier. We got to look at Super Crazy Rhythm Castle, which is a I mean, this I think we saw this at another direct recently. Like I remember seeing this at some event or another, and this is a Konami joint, and it's like a bunch of songs from their classic titles that have these like cool remixes and everything, and then you get this like rhythm RPG basically um thrown in there.
Yeah,
Cool vibe.
cool stuff. Yeah,
It's one of those things where like I feel like you got to be a big Konami fan for this to like be for you, but you know,
right. Might not
def-
scratch everyone's itch, but
yeah, but definitely cool. Um, so the last game we're gonna talk about that I was so excited about, but I'm very disappointed about the release date is Wargroove 2. So I love the original Wargroove. It is very much like it is to Advance Wars what uh Stardew Valley is to Harvest Moon, where
oh,
it's very
okay.
much like Nintendo doesn't want to make this game, so we made this game. And rather than being set in like a modern like warfare type environment, it's like swords and sorcery, you know? And there's like some like cute, like quirky stuff to it where it's like the one faction has like these like war dogs. There's like one faction that are like plant people. In this, they were talking about how there's like a new race of like mouse people and stuff like that. So there's like a
Mm,
lot of like cute fantasy, it's like classic fantasy tropes mixed with like kind of cute like Saturday morning cartoon like kind of energy. And it's just a really, really fucking great, challenging tactical RPG. That just has like a ton of personality and like is one of my like if I was gonna make like a top 20 games I played on Nintendo Switch, I think it would make the list for me. I
nice.
love Wargroove. Steve's back.
Are you gonna pick Wargroove up with like all of the other tactical
Like,
games out, like
no,
Baldur's Gate 3 that you're playing at the
no,
moment?
and
Get
I'm so
Advance
mad about
Wars.
it. Like they're doing this game dirty, just like they did Advance Wars dirty. It's like, why are you putting it out in the middle of a time when I have no time to play it? It's coming out in like October 5th. I was like, can this please just be next year? Can you please? So I'm
Yeah.
gonna play it at some point, but it's what I'm gonna have to get to later, I think.
Yeah, I know. This fall is way too slammed.
Yeah, it's stacked, and it's like I gotta prioritize,
They just got to
the
stop releasing games. Like next year, we just need to
Yeah.
pause, no new
pause.
games, and we'll just have a year of catching up.
I agree. We need a 365-day moratorium on putting out video games, please. I need to
You
catch up.
should do a challenge 1 year, Pete. Just buy no new games, just work through the backlog for the whole year, and see how many you can get through.
Oh, I couldn't do a whole year. That's crazy.
Right? Because that's the thing is like on its face, I'm like, okay, like I don't hate the idea of like that's it like as a
Right?
challenge.
Maybe you
But
say
like,
like you could buy one game a
but
year.
yeah,
Like you
but then
have
it's like, well,
one.
what year are we talking about? Because if that was like this year, I would have killed myself. You kidding me?
Yeah. The
Oh
problem
yeah,
is FOMO. You would have to
yeah.
unplug from society, and that would be the only way you could avoid the pain of missing out or even knowing that there's something new that you're not playing because you can't because of the challenge.
And like that would it would fuck up our content and everything. Like it's like, oh,
No, it would be fine because we could tell you how great the games were when you come on and do a podcast with us.
yeah, Steve, you're gonna play all the games that I would normally play. Is that what you're saying? Because you're
I
signing up
might
for
not, but
quite a
but
bit.
You
Chewy
will
will
play
and
Pokemon.
Sierra will. Yeah, it's fine.
Uh, yeah, I don't know, man. That's a tall order. It's a tall order.
Yeah. Yeah, note how I signed you up for the challenge. I'm not doing it. That's honestly, it's my idea of hell.
It
No.
seems like the kind of challenge that you would cook up, agree to, and then immediately back out of. Actually.
Yeah,
Oh my
does sound like
god.
me.
He's like, what if we do a Persona 5 book club and then I bail after the first episode? What if we do that? Is that cool?
I didn't come up with that idea. That was not me.
I cry every day.
Just saying. She's saying. All right.
Have you
So,
finished it yet? How are you getting on with that?
oh, I bailed, but I lasted a lot longer than you.
I'm so sad. I wanted to go back, but stuff happened, and then I really fell behind. And when I got all my stuff back, I had to go on tour, and then I had to do like band stuff, and my schedule picked up. So I've had like some pockets of time where I could have gone back, but it was still like I still had to balance that time with other things. But I'm thinking about it all the time. I'm like, I
Well,
love this game so much.
once Tears of the Kingdom came out, it was like
It was over.
I'm done. Like it's like I don't know that because I remember literally we've talked about it like, oh, like when are we gonna do the next episode? And I was like, I don't know, guys. Like I want to do it again. I'm not saying it's over, but like
But like
there's
we
like
gotta figure out what we're doing for game of the year. You know,
there's
we've
like
got to play
10
the
of the
games that
best
actually
games
came
of all
out. Yeah.
time came out this year. So like I know
Yeah.
what you want from me. I already played Persona
Yeah.
5. I gotta play this new stuff.
I know.
So all right, last game we're gonna touch on War Tales. This
I
is
don't remember it.
I gotta be honest with you, gang. I gotta be honest with you. I don't remember this one either. I don't remember this one at all.
They gotta stop making these. Like, do they feel like, oh, we keep doing 40 minutes, so we have to do 40 minutes again? What are we gonna put in it? I don't fucking know. Fucking
Oh wait, I
Shelma's
remember this.
castle. I don't fucking know.
This was this game that I remember looking at it and they were like describing it, and I was like, this is like the game you got because you don't have Baldur's Gate, right? Like that's what this is.
Oh my
Oh
god.
yeah.
You know? It's like
It's like we got Baldur's Gate at home. Yeah.
Yeah, Mom,
It
can we
has
buy
that
Baldur's
energy
Gate
to it a
3?
little
No,
bit.
we have Baldur's Gate 3 on the
But I mean for what it's worth, I
think
did
it
take
looked
a
pretty
look.
good.
What's that?
I thought it looked pretty good, to be honest.
Oh, it does look
Yeah.
good. And like
Yeah.
looking at the Metacritic for the PC version that's already available, it's 80. So pretty well received, you know? So it seems like a pretty sick game actually. I feel kind of bad that
Let me
I
say though,
totally blanked on what it was though.
if you have a Switch and you're looking to play Baldur's Gate 3, and it's the only way you can play Baldur's Gate 3 is you can't because it's not on Switch.
The only
right?
way you can play it is you can't.
Play Divinity Original Sin. Play Divinity Original Sin 2. It's on the Switch and it's phenomenal, and you should play that game.
That's the previous game from Larian, just in case anybody was unaware
Yes.
of that. It's context worth presenting potentially. and that is available on Switch. So go check it out. So yeah, I mean, all said and done, I'm inclined to say solid direct, like A minus. It's good.
Hmm.
It's really good. Lots of show, lots of good looking games, lots to look forward to. Good pacing too, right? Did not like
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I never once felt bored,
it,
like, oh,
Mm.
come on.
I'm a little like there was that portion that Sierra called out where it's like it got to a little bit of like it's like a murky JRPG slog fest for like, but it was like so short, and then it was like, all right, we're back to it. I'm like, okay, not too bad. They talked about like the Nintendo Museum too, which I was like very stoked about. Like
I
they
thought that was
like
gonna be Universal Studios. I thought it was gonna be
not
Orlando,
yet,
Mario World.
but they're like, all right, we got a lot of little things to hit on, and I feel like most of the time was used pretty well. Overall I feel pretty high on this one.
Was that controller brand new, or has that always been available to NSO users?
That's
That's been around since they launched the
yeah.
SNES.
Jesus
They launched.
Christ.
I think every one of those controllers came out at the same time as the original
Yeah,
one.
I did not realize. Heck.
because you can get the Mega Drive one as well, and you can also get the N64 one. They released those alongside those
Or
consoles coming.
Yeah.
my bad. That's like a B plus, regular B for me. For me, the benchmark is the September 2022 Nintendo Direct. That was very hype for me. And for me, like nothing has stacked up quite as much, but I think I liked this one better than the June Direct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah,
Yeah, that one was a bit weird.
yeah, I
This one,
agree.
I think going in with like kind of tempered expectations also helped because
It's
like
the key.
I definitely had that, like, where I was with you, Sierra, until they were like, it's 40 minutes, where I was like, oh, it'll be like a check-in kind of thing. Like they'll have one or two big announcements. It'll be
Yeah.
what it is. And it was like, I felt like it was pretty stacked for what I think probably very easily could have been a super soft direct when you think about how much is like they didn't need a direct right now. So the fact that they were able to come with like at least a couple big swings, pretty good.
Yeah.
Final thoughts, Steve?
I think I have come away from this. I think for me, I was going to a direct looking. If I come away with at least one game I want to play, I'm happy. I've come away with like 4 that I want to play.
Yeah.
2 big collections of games that I'm very excited about. I'm very nostalgic for. I really, really hope everyone goes and plays another Code. I'm glad it's getting another outing on a console, and I'm glad that it's coming to another region. I can't believe that it never even came to America, the Wii game, which I never realized. And also being able to play a Paper Mario game, and my first one's going to be the best one, so I'm really happy.
Yeah, lots of good stuff to look forward to.
Yeah. Don't
So
play Sticker Star. It's terrible.
do not
Sorry.
remake Sticker Star,
Just
please.
saying. You're starting from a very high place, Steve. Don't go back.
All right, we're going to wrap it there for today. Thank you guys for joining us on another episode of Nintendo Noise. Remember, if you want to let us know what you thought about today's Nintendo Direct, or you want to write in ahead of next week's conversation about the latest reports about the Switch 2 and all of the everything that we know about the hardware thus far, make sure you write in. There's a bunch of ways you can do that. Come join the Discord where we keep the conversation rolling between episodes. Write into us questions at flipscreen.games for the question block for next week. And yeah, while you're over there, click on some stuff. Go check out our sister shows. Go check out some of the other cool content that we're doing. However you choose to get involved or show your support, we really appreciate it. And of course, flipscreen.games is the best way to find links to all that and much more. If you want to go above and beyond in your support, you want to help us keep these mics and lights hot, of course, you can head over to Patreon. You can get some extra perks and goodies. You can get the show early. But of course, there are dozens and dozens of ways for you to get involved that won't cost you a pretty penny. However you choose to tune in or show your support, thank you for joining us for this week's show. We'll catch you next week for another episode of Nintendo Noise. See you later.